This is the Gears Reflex, and it marks the beginning of a new type of resin printer. Printers that make your life easier. Printers that can produce the most detailed minis you have ever seen, but with that performance comes a dark side. And no, I'm not talking about the price tag. This might very well be the end of 3D printing as we know it. Hi, I'm James. This isn't the video I was going to make, but let's get one thing straight. This is the best printer I have ever used. Hands down. And I was gonna make that video, but the more I thought about it, and the more I talked about it with other creators, the more I realised that I'd be doing you a huge disservice if I didn't deal with the elephant in the room. This video is sponsored by Into the AM, because I really believe that this printer is about to change everything, and I'm not yet sure whether it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. But before we get to that, and I promise I'll get there as fast as I can, I want to quickly introduce Gears and give them proper credit for making something that is genuinely incredible. Over the past couple of months I've been using this machine a lot and have printed a wide range of resin models, but in the last week I've been testing out their CMYK system, and it's the perfect opportunity for me to showcase the whole printing process from end to end, which allowed me to print this absolute monster of a bust with no paint at all. Pretty mind-blowing stuff. But let's start at the beginning. Unboxing's always exciting, but this packaging goes way above and beyond. The printer itself weighs an absolute ton, and inside that box comes everything you need from filters to tools. Setup is exactly how you'd expect though. Simply remove all the cellophane and various bits and pieces of additional plastic, and the whole thing is ready to go straight out the box. It's nice to see the hinges on the lid actually hold it in place instead of it just guillotining down on your hands like a mad thing. But I think probably the first thing you'll notice when you use this machine is that everything is just quite chunky and industrial, particularly that plate, which weighs an absolute ton. When you first fire up the machine, the screen will initially walk you through the instructions. The first thing you'll have to do is level it. Don't worry though, it will tell you whether it's level or not. Simply adjust the feet until the four corners go green. Next, the machine will zero the build plate, and it checks whether it's level due to inbuilt sensors. My machine was pre-leveled in the factory, and yours should be too, but just in case it isn't, the machine will then walk you through the steps you need to correct it, even going as far as to tell you which direction to turn the screws and in which corner. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the resin in just a second, but all you need to know for this bit is that the cartridges just insert into the back of the printer and autofill. Once it's filled, the sluice gate begins to shut before stopping the resin flow entirely. And it knows when it's full because of this natty little gadget, which is a level sensor. Because science. You can override all those features, and that's what I had to do when I was mixing my CMYK resins, and if that's the case, you just pour them into the vat. There's no need to worry about the temperature or the mixing of the resin because the next step does that for you. And as the IR camera shows, it does a pretty good job. I tested this with other printers and it really does make a difference. Why don't more brands do this? The printer will now run through its cycle and you can get the parts off the plate right at the end. Now the next step is to wash the parts down, and this wash statement is a little bit controversial. Hey, I quite like it, but other YouTubers haven't loved it as much. Regardless, you can either pop the parts in loose and just have them rattle around the bottom, or you can pop the plate down upside down, which is annoying, and let the thing do its magic. And then you take them out, pop them in this thing, which you can either use to bake. I generally let mine air dry first, or you can just go straight in and just cure the models. You can actually set the curing time via Blueprint, but I normally skip that step and just cure it for 5 to 10 minutes. Shh. Don't tell Gears. You know what I never skip though? Wearing decent clothes. Because I'm too old and too grumpy to buy cheap, uncomfortable clothes these days, and that's why I was thrilled when Into the AM reached out to me and asked me to try their incredible range of t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, joggers and boxers. I've been wearing them for months in my videos now, and they have done many wash cycles. I can easily say they're some of the most comfortable pieces of clothing that I own. The length of the tees mean they aren't drafty even though I'm 6'2". My favourite thing though, the tiny little thumb pockets in the hoodie. So if you want to share the love and grab some incredible new gear, check out the link below and use the code in the description at the checkout. So I know that's a lot, but that's the review done. But there are some absolutely massive question marks hanging over this printer and its whole ethos. Before we get there though, if you've enjoyed this video, you can like and subscribe down below. With your help, I'm hoping to get 10,000 subscribers before the summertime. Thanks so much. So, about that elephant. This printer costs $1,400. Let that sink in for a minute. That's 1, 2, 3 Anycubic 5S's. Lots of people have talked about how ridiculously expensive this printer is, and that's not really what this video is about. A better number to talk about is $1,200, and we'll talk about why in just a second. Actually, I think a bigger question is, who is this printer actually for? Companies don't just put products into the market and slap prices on them willy-nilly without thinking about it, or at least successful ones don't. And Hey Gears are professionals. They've been doing this for a long time. They come from an extensive pedigree of making prosthetic and dental printers. So, who is this for? Hey Gears say they're targeting consumers, but then again, they also say this.
And we developed and designed the Reflex as a production tool for your commercial business.
So which is right? There are 3 main markets for 3D printers. Professionals, those who use printers to make things generate profit, like the dentistry or master model production or prosthetics, that sort of thing. There's researchers, i.e. those in academia who teach materials science or rapidly prototype concepts. And hobbyists, like you and me, who print models, toys, other fun things like that. I'm really interested to know what you guys think about this. My own thoughts are that this printer is really targeted at high-end, small batch production. For me, that's professionals and researchers, more than hobbyists. That's because of the ecosystem. No, not that sort. Let me explain. This printer operates in an integrated ecosystem, meaning everything in the system is designed to work with each other. The software is optimized around the printer and the resins are all proprietary. Hey Gears say this is to optimize the workflow and to make things simpler, and that makes sense in a commercial environment. Not necessarily from a hobbyist point of view though, where most people are prepared to save a few quid, even if it takes them a little bit longer to do something. And the focus of the Hey Gears Reflex is not about cost savings. A really good example of that are the resins. You can grab a litre of generic resin from Amazon for about £20 a litre. Hey Gears resin will start at about £55, and the CMYK resin I'm using in this video costs £95 a litre. Now those two products are light years apart in terms of quality assurance, but your average hobbyist is just not going to care about that. They just want cheap resin to print their armies. So no, I don't think this is a hobby printer. So once you're bought in, you're completely locked down. That means no tweaking settings, even if you can make it better. No using other third-party slicers, and, well, we've already talked about the resins. Hobbyists have got used to essentially an open source tinkering workflow where you can swap out parts, bastardize the machine, use weird resin mixes and tweak settings, and it's a huge ask to expect a community like that to just make a change. Scroll through the comments on Fohammer's excellent review video and you'll see exactly what I mean. And that's my other major worry. That's why I said this. This might very well be the end of 3D printing as we know it, because I'm worried that other 3D printing companies are going to take a look at the sponsored locked-in model that Hey Gears are operating here and roll that out in their ecosystems too. But that's a really negative view, because this printer is genuinely incredible. It's not infallible though. It's subject to the same human errors, little glitches, mechanical failures that any other machine is. But this machine has one trump card. It's piggybacking on the support services that underpin the rest of its commercial business, which means its support is second to none. In the few issues I've had, the response has been fast, professional, and most of all, effective. So no, I don't think this machine is for hobbyists. Let me put it another way. If you're billing your time out at £200 an hour, you don't really care if your resin costs £20 more. You just want it to work. And yeah, I realise I'm going off on a bit here, and I don't really want to sound like a pretentious dick. Let's be real here, if you're just printing armies at home, you don't need this printer. Buy something significantly cheaper and take advantage of the cheaper resins and the multitude of different slicing softwares you can access. However, if you're doing things slightly more professionally, yeah, this one's well worth a look. For those folks, the industry standard is Formlabs, a printer I tested in this video, and a printer that was outperformed by this machine. And Formlabs printers cost about $1,200 more, and the resins cost around $150 a litre, compared to the Hey Gears resins, which cost $50 to $70 a litre. And so I think we have our answer. When you compare the Gears Reflex to the Formlabs machines, then this whole thing starts to make a lot more sense. I have to confess, my biggest fear of the printer is the fear that other manufacturers are going to look at this system and then think it's a good idea and then start to bring in their own proprietary systems and their own bespoke resins. It's already started with companies like Bamboo, and yeah, I worry this is the way the industry is going to go. This might very well be the end of 3D printing as we know it. But I hope not. What I actually hope is that 3D manufacturers take a look at the incredible technology, the built-in sensors and all the lifestyle improvements this printer offers and start to build it into their own machines, making everything better for everybody else. And more than that Gears maybe take a look at this video and think, hey, why not open it up a little bit more and maybe build a Pro mode into their Blueprint software, allowing people to tweak the settings and make modifications, maybe even using third-party resins in refillable bottles. And that is a future I very much want to be a part of. I just want to thank you for watching this video all the way through to the end. If you've enjoyed it, like and click. A huge thank you to everyone who supports me over on Patreon and joins in the chats over on Discord. And the only thing left for me to say is thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.